Morning, everybody. If you can, grab your Bible, and we'll be in the 14th chapter of Proverbs again today, starting in the 11th verse. And these Proverbs are, this section is maybe um, a little deeper thinking, as Solomon's kind of more pointing towards the end of life, that this life that we prepare for the end of life, knowing that this life is temporary. And so in verse 11, he says, "The house of the wicked shall be overthrown, but the tabernacle of the upright shall flourish." And the real focus when we study this verse are those two words, house and tabernacle. That the wicked man's life is called a house, but the righteous man, the wise man, his life is called a tabernacle or a tent. We have to, obviously, when we see something like that, let's think about the differences. A house is permanent, whereas a tent is a temporary dwelling. A house is where you settle down and live. A tent is something that you use when you're on a journey. Again, a house is more sturdy than a tent, and so there's some things there obviously that are different in living in a house and in a tent. And obviously, most of us, if we were given the choice, you can live in a house or you can live in a tent, most of us would choose a house because we would think that's the better, more valuable, safer way to live. But here, this verse seems to say that the opposite is true, that the wicked have houses, and that the righteous have tents. And I think for many of you that the understanding of that is kind of starting to maybe creep into your head a little bit. That the house of the wicked, that's as good as it's going to get for him. But for the righteous man, he's just passing through this world, and so he doesn't settle down and have a house. He's in a tent, just passing through this life. And so he recognizes that and understands that this world, as the song says, as we say, this world is not his home. And so he's building and storing up for something even greater. There's a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. In that thought, the righteous man tries to do things God's way, whereas the wicked man then, because he thinks this is all there is, then he lives a wicked life. He doesn't follow God. He uses his own wisdom and judgment. Even in laughter, the heart is sorrowful, and the end of that mirth is heaviness. A wise man understands that because someone is laughing doesn't mean there isn't sorrow, there isn't trouble, and so again that a person can be covering up how they truly feel, and so again he cares about people. Again, just the whole idea here is this man is preparing for something larger, something bigger, something beyond him. The backslider in heart shall be filled with his own ways, and a good man shall be satisfied from himself. The wise man knows, again, that this world is not his home, that he will be ultimately rewarded, that in this world he may not have some of the luxuries and some of the other things of life, but that God will reward him in due time. And the simple believe every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going. The simple, the foolish, the unwise believe everything they hear, whereas the wise man thinks about his actions. He considers what he hears. And a thought we have seen kind of playing out in this entire chapter is that a wise man considers the end of things. He considers the end of his actions. He considers the results of what he does in this life and beyond. And a wise man prepares for that for eternity. He prepares for the consequences, the rewards, the outcomes, both of his earthly decisions, how he treats people, those kind of things, how those are going to play out here on earth. But he also, in a far grander scale, is preparing and living his life thinking about eternity. And so these are some very somber, very serious warnings that Solomon gives us here this morning, and some thoughts that all of us need to think about, regardless of how old or young you are, that you are considering and remembering the end game, how things are going to play out. Whether it's again a simple action you might take here, if I tell this lie, the consequences, but even more important, how I live my life, that I will one day stand before God. And so a wise man is always thinking about the consequences and the outcome of his actions. Are you? Am I? Are we thinking that way instead of just in the present? Something to think about this morning. You have a good day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning.